I know that you treat a lot of athletic back pain, specifically stress fractures, right? So why are they common, and how do you manage this type of back problems?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. The bowlers generally, so they're the ones that tend to get injured the most because it's the most physically demanding activity. The injuries, so it's similar to pitching, but the difference is that there's a run up now with the fast bowlers. Now, for an example, a fast bowler generally will bowl between 130 and 155 at the top end k's an hour. So that's down a 22-metre pitch. So you can imagine someone
super fast.
Yes. Oh, and super scary if you're at the other end having to try. So and the difference again, I suppose, with baseball, with the bowling and cricket, the idea is that you hit the wicket. So you rather than the pitching which goes through on the full, bowling you hit the pitch, and the pitch does obviously various things. The ball can bounce and move around a little bit. So again, that makes it probably even harder. And the bowlers are trying to swing the ball as well, which is another dimension. We're a bit like pitching, with the breaking ball and all that kind of thing. So that's an idea of the speed, I suppose. 130, 155 probably is the top end of things. And they normally would run between 20 and 30 metres. So that's an idea of their run up. So they'll run up, and they get to generally about 80 to 90% of their maximum running speed during that run up. So they're going pretty quick. Then they and like if you can imagine a javelin thrower, they have this little jump and then basically stop everything and let their arm come over and bowl. So it's a really hugely demanding activity on the body. It's a pretty silly thing to do, really, from a body point of view, because it's hugely, to run up almost 80 to 90% of your maximum speed, then suddenly have a little jump and just stop suddenly. You can imagine the stresses that are going through the body at that point of time. You're probably at bowling at delivery, you're talking 7 to 10 times body weight going through the front leg as they pivot over the top of that. So the big injury from a bowling point of view, like you said, Mariana, is the stress fractures. So lumbar spine stress fractures. That's the big one, and with fast bowlers especially, it happens reasonably frequently. We probably might get in a squad, you might get one or two a year, but the fast bowlers are generally the bowlers that win your games. So they're generally the ones that you want in your team. A wee bit like your pitching, they win your games. So they're hugely important. And when you lose one, it's a big event, obviously for the athlete, but for the team as well. The reason that's so devastating, it takes you out generally 6 to 12 months, depending on how bad it is. So that's why it's so sort of devastating, because once you have it, you're done for the season, if not the year. So that's so it's a big event. Now, and like we said, those variations of game, obviously the 5-day game. So bowlers can, in that 5-day period. So if you're thinking overs, they could bowl. Sometimes they'll bowl 60 overs in a 5-day game. So that's 60 times 6 deliveries. With all those ground reaction forces and all the rest of it. So that's just in a 5-day period. So that's and basically the more they bowl, the more risk they have of these injuries occurring, of them occurring. So volume or load is a real issue for us that we try and manage as best we can. We try and avoid spikes and things in load. So where they have a baseline of bowls that they've delivered, and then they suddenly, go way above that. It could be 2 or 3 times above their normal weekly load, and that's a real problem. Very similar to pitching. You have pitch counts and all those things in baseball. It's a very similar concept in bowling. We've probably stolen it a little bit from baseball and just extrapolated it into cricket. But it's the same principle. Same principle. You try and manage their load, the amount of balls that they bowl, and if they have a spike in those loads for whatever reason, then you try and manage them out the other end of it as well.